lot of mixing and matching for this Gales team late in the season.
Tim Coos wants to shake it up. It's about that time of year.
He's doing just that. Manhattan will get things started. It's been a rough year for the Jaspers, near the bottom of this MAC conference, but Steve Masiello, always an optimist, saying, look, I know what it takes in this MAC tournament. I've done it twice. We can get hot at the right time, and it all starts with a win here.
And you want to build, too, for next year. You're always trying to build for the future. And trust me, this team has been close in every ball game this year. They've struggled to pull out wins.
Tie up underneath on the opening possession, 20 seconds in. And Iona has the arrow. So we get our first look at a Gales offense that leads the MAC in scoring, 84 points per game.
Everything they do depends on their offense. They've been consistently inconsistent is what Tim Coos likes to say. And if they come out firing and they're hot against this zone, they'll give Manhattan trouble.
We apologize for our technical issues. We'll get you the clock and score as soon as we can. Iona, a new starting lineup tonight. Jordan Washington, step back jumper doesn't fall. He's one of the new 4 guys coming in. Buddy's their leading scorer. Foul trouble is the issue with number 23 and white.
Iona starting out here in the zone.
Calvin Crawford knocks it down, and Manhattan's on the board.
And that's going to be a key if Iona's in a zone. You've got to be able to hit some perimeter shots, and Crawford has been up and down a little this year, but he's an X factor.
Cedric Casimir, he has killed the Jaspers in his career, averaging 17 points per game against Manhattan. He's usually around 6 points per game. Deep three for much, and there's too much on it. Manhattan gets out in transition. Open three. Capuano doesn't take it. And Manhattan up to a 5-0 start. Calvin Crawford's got all 5, the junior from Middletown, New York.
Nice ball movement for Manhattan. If they're patient on the offensive end, they're going to get some looks. They've just got to be able to hit. And I find Calvin Crawford this year has been the one that's been left open. He's got an intensity right now in his eyes. You can just see it.
Coach Masiello says 14 in green. Crawford has really started to put it together. How about Deshaun Much? Opens the scoring on the Iona end with a 3. Jasper still up by 2, 5-3.
Against that zone, if Iona can take their time, be patient, they're going to get some good looks.
Crawford on a heat check, but that triple doesn't fall for the junior.
And remember, too, this Manhattan zone is very particular. The way they switch into that matchup.
Schwanderlich, air ball, right into the hands of Calvin Crawford. Both teams like to run and gun. We've seen that in the opening 2.5 minutes. Manhattan up by 2. Feet inside. The 7'2" Ishmael couldn't come up with it. It rolls across the timeline. Casimir underneath. Washington rejected, but a foul called.
Now, one thing Steve Masiello did tell me before the game regarding Jordan Washington, the last time they played this team, they double-teamed the crap out of Washington. Washington got in foul trouble and sat a lot of the game. Now, after that, Iona brought in basically a small lineup, and that small ball lineup actually hurt them more. So tonight, expect to see Steve Maz and Manhattan just double-teaming him in the beginning, but they're going to pretty much play him straight up. Remember, he had 38 points against Ryder, and they lost by about 17. So it's going to be a key to watch how they cover him.
Washington does put up some insane numbers, though. If you go points per 40 minutes, he leads the entire country. The problem is he only averages 21 minutes per game because of the foul trouble.
And they've gotten used to playing without him.
Manhattan leading by 2 early on the road. Almost gifted a pass there. Instead, on the attacking end. Leading into a shot. Doesn't fall.
Nice hustle by Waterman.
He's the catalyst of this Manhattan team, Zane Waterman. Giving the Jaspers a fresh 30.
Iona staying in this zone.
Dump inside. Ishmael. Capuano. Hesitation. 5 on the timer. Kick out. Crawford for 3. No good.
A very aggressive zone. Iona extending it.
Iona, Kashmir in the corner. He's got it.
Nice ball.
Cedric Kashmir, and Iona up 7-5.
Really great job just whipping that pass into the corner. McGill saw him out of the corner of his eye. That ball movement is key.
Capuano, very nice pump fake from the sophomore early on in this game. We've seen it a couple of times. That one draws the foul. Jasper's trailing by 2 in the opening minutes.
It's going to be so key for Iona to hit some perimeter shots now. This is a beautiful job just moving the basketball. When you talked to Tim Clues about that before the game, he said, we have to get good ball movement against that zone. And that's what they need to do. And if they can make shots and stretch the defense, that will open up the paint as well for a guy like Washington.
Xavier Turner, the leading scorer on this Jaspers team with 15.5 points per game.
I still don't know why teams would play Iona in a zone. I mean, I know you've got some good guys in the middle, but they can definitely get hot.
Stolen away. Iona can get out in transition. Here's Much. She actually slows it down. That's something we rarely see from the Gales.
That was smart because Manhattan was back defensively.
Kashmir again. Got it. Back-to-back threes for Cedric. Welcome back to the Heinz Center. Iona on a 10-0 run alongside Julianne Vianney. I'm Jay Alter. We apologize for the technical difficulties with our time and score early on, but we're back in action. As Manhattan turns it over, Iona cranked up the pressure defensively, and the Jaspers couldn't respond.
And that's the fifth turnover, or excuse me, the fourth turnover for Manhattan. So Iona putting that pressure on them, and they've got 4 points already off of turnovers. Usually Manhattan's the team that really puts the pressure on and forces turnovers.
And we saw the Gales head coach Tim Clues make 4 changes to his starting lineup. All 4 of those players have accounted for the Iona opening 13 points as John Schwanderlich opens up on a triple.
That's a boy, and they're stretching the defense, and they look really good right now. They're patient with the ball, getting guys open.
It's an 8-point Iona lead after Manhattan opened on a 5-0 run. That shot goes begging from Xavier Turner. How about the freshman Aaron Walker Jr. showing off the hop, stealing it away. A freshman with a lot of raw talent, head coach Steve Masiello told us. Vonderlich.
Really nice job by Vonderlich, just finding the opening and then the ball reversal, and they are feeling confident right now. And sometimes it takes a little shaking up of the starting lineup. You just get that spark from guys that are not always starting.
And he's wearing that face gear because he broke his nose in warm-ups 3 games ago at Canisius. He's got 2 fouls, so checks out of the game. Manhattan on a scoring drought after opening the game up 5-0. They go down low to try and change that. Zane Waterman does.
That's the guy that can get the ball. He has to have a touch every time down the floor, and the past few possessions, he hasn't really touched it.
Manhattan, a team that prides itself on the defensive end. Iona's had far too many open shots early in this game, though.
Yeah, and Manhattan wants to keep the game in the 70s, low 70s if possible, and then, of course, they've got to score the basketball. If they can do that, they typically win games, and that will favor them as far as tempo. If this game gets inflated and up there in scoring, it's going to favor Iona.
Tyler Wilson, the lone senior on this Manhattan roster, draws the foul. E.J. Crawford, the freshman for Iona, commits his first foul of the game. Back to Wilson, the only member on this Manhattan team other than their head coach Steve Masiello, who's part of that 2 NCAA appearances. Deep 3 from the freshman. And Aaron Walker Jr. pulls Manhattan back within 3.
He's one of the more talented freshmen in the league, really. I mean, he's such an athlete.
Ricky McGill takes it all the way, but an offensive foul. Zane Waterman.
That is a gritty play right there by Waterman. A nice job getting back and just putting his body in the right position. That's a good call. He gets above the semicircle. He takes the heat, and that's the toughness factor. Those are toughness plays that you got to love from Waterman.
Ricky McGill, the sophomore, at 6'1", going into Waterman 6'9". And how about the big fella laying the lumber and drawing the charge?
Waterman is a high IQ guy, and I say that all the time. He's the smartest guy out there on the floor right now. I mean, he's always coaching. He knows where to be at the right time.
Walker thought about another triple, instead gives it away. John Sevier in transition. Goes right into two Manhattan defenders and draws the foul.
Now, you don't want to force it. Make the simple pass, or else you're going to really allow Iona to get out and run, and that's what they want to do. And in that way, they can score.
So John Sevier steps to the foul line. He's in his grad year. He earned his degree in 3 years at Fordham, had one more year of eligibility and chose to come to Iona. His shooting has really increased this year, Julia, and he leads the MAC with 45.7% three-point percentage, 59 threes on the year.
When he makes a couple, he just goes. I mean, he's one of those players that you want him to keep shooting when he gets hot. And when he misses, you don't want him to shoot. That's the kind of player he is.
Inside again, looking for Waterman, who draws the foul. So Zane Waterman, the junior, heads to the foul line. That foul on Taylor Bessick.
Number 4, Zane Waterman, shooting 2.
Zane Waterman was recruited by Steve Masiello after he watched him in an AAU game in Philadelphia. He's coming from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, so I asked him, Coach, how'd you get him all the way up to Manhattan? And he said, funny enough, he was in Philly watching him play Iona's Jordan Washington. And the way he guarded him, the toughness he showed in that AAU game, said, we got to go after this guy, and he recruited them heavily, bringing him. And now they're matching up as a senior and a junior.
He's a thin player, but he's extremely tough underneath, and he'll muscle you. Don't let his thinner frame fool you, because he's super athletic.
E.J. Crawford's first basket of the night has Iona back up by 4, 16-12. Here's Aaron Walker Jr., pull-up jumper, got it. 5 points for the freshman. Iona just a 2-point lead now.
He's an attacker. Now, he's gotten better too at the mid-range game. Typically, he hit that outside shot before, but usually he would go all the way to the basket or hit shots like that. It's in his wheelhouse.
To shoot. Here's Sevier. Over the Much. Step back three. Buries it.
Wow, that was a tough shot. Manhattan made them wind the shot clock down, and then Much hits another one.
And it's been guys, Deshaun Much and Cedric Casimir, who have gotten to start for the first time in a while and are paying dividends on the other end. Zane Waterman keeps doing his thing for the Jaspers.
They've got to keep getting him the basketball.
Sevier steps into a three. Too much on it. Capuano with the board. Iona 5 of 10 from beyond the arc this game. That's what they love to do. Shoot that three ball. They've only lost twice this season when they make 10 or more. Walker Jr. cutting into the lane, lays it up and in.
He's been aggressive. You gotta love the way he's playing right now. Attacking, attacking, attacking. They're gonna let him go. He's gonna go.
The freshman with 7 of Manhattan's 18 points tonight.
He's getting right into the teeth of the defense in the middle of the lane.
Casimir.
Now, this is the thing. Iona doesn't want to get caught just settling for the perimeter shots. Now, obviously, Manhattan's playing a zone, but you've got to find a way to attack it and get some inside action as well.
Manhattan has made their last 5 shots. Wilson looking for Waterman. Double team comes. Muscles his way up for 2.
Now, Washington's been out of the game, and all of a sudden you see here Zane Waterman is really having a field day in the block area, and they're looking to get it to him. They're hurting without him in there.
Crawford can't make the response for Iona. Manhattan now 6 straight shots made, and they've got the lead on the road halfway through this opening half.
3 Iona subs coming in here, which is smart on Tim Cruz's part here.
The momentum in favor of the Jaspers. Walker Jr. fading away, leaves it short. What can Iona do, I guess, other than the substitutions to get the offense cooking like it was earlier?
I think they need to get some more touches inside. I mean, they're just going around the perimeter now. It's good to go around the horn, but see, get it inside like that. That's a good job. If you don't have that shot, you have an opportunity to kick it out. But you want to make sure you're moving the ball well. That was what they were doing earlier.
To shoot. Here's Walker Jr. Decides to take it, and he makes it.
They're letting him go.
Manhattan on an 8-0 run.
They are leaving him open. He's a guy they're just letting shoot, and he's making him.
Walker Jr. now up to 9 points to lead all scorers. Iona, Much, and we're tied at 22. Deshaun Much.
Lots of confidence.
A great one at the Heinz Center. Two New York schools going toe-to-toe early. Waterman had a step and uses it. Gets the hook shot over Taylor Bessick. Waterman up to 10 points on the game.
He's killing Bessick in the paint. Absolutely blowing by him and boxing him out. And you see Washington is about to check in. There hasn't been a whistle. They've been sitting there for probably 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Bessick now going on Waterman. He's got the answer. Taylor Bessick, the senior from Philadelphia, transferred from James Madison. He provides that depth on the interior when Jordan Washington's in foul trouble. Washington's not in foul trouble tonight, which is surprising, but he's just waiting to get into the ball game.
Yeah, Bessick's been valuable off the bench.
Five to shoot. Wilson left open, but he gives the ball away. John Sevier. B.J. Crawford left open for three, and he makes Manhattan pay.
Iona in transition is so good at finding the open man. They're an unselfish team. When they are passing well, it's tough to stop that.
Iona just letting Manhattan shoot. Jaspers were making it early on, and that bounced all the way back out, so a fresh 30. No one in white was even moving on that
That's
play.
the game plan. You want to make Tyler Wilson beat you. Make Walker Jr. beat you. Let those guys have shots. Now, Walker Jr.'s made some tonight, but that's the game plan, clearly.
Really sagging off those guys. Gales leading by 3. Much lets another three fly, and he's got it. 4 threes on the night for Deshaun Much, and Iona leading by 6.
The veteran swingman doing it. I think he's struggled a bit this year. Tim Cluse expected a little bit more out of him, I think, this season as a returner, but he has got all the potential in the world.
Manhattan went on, and players that have scored all their points, 24 of them. Zane Waterman, Walker Jr., and Calvin Crawford. Waterman, the leading scorer with 10, trying to make it 12, but leaves it short.
Now Washington's back in the game, see if he can disrupt Waterman a little bit.
John Sevier, no good. The former Fordham man. He's the most consistent three-point shooter on the team, and yet tonight, he's 0 for 2 from beyond the arc. Tim Cluse told us before the game, as long as we have 2 or 3 of our guards shooting well from beyond the arc, we're typically okay. They've got that with Much and Casimir. Manhattan has really gone cold after an 8-0 run. They've failed to score in the last few minutes of this game.
And that's been a problem for them throughout the season. They've been inconsistent. They'll play about half the game or 3/4 of the game and not finish it.
10 to shoot for the Gales. Ricky McGill cuts into the lane. Wide open for 3. John Sevier. No good. He's now 0 for 3 from 3 tonight.
But McGill is so good at finding you. If you're on the floor, his assist to turnover ratio is tied for first in the league. So he's going to find you. You got to finish.
Xavier Turner's been quiet, trying to turn things around, but that goes begging. Sam Cassell Jr. taking up the court. We barely said his name tonight. Didn't get the start. He normally does.
And he's been up and down, and sometimes he's an amazing shooter like that. And he gets going. He gets going. Didn't start tonight. Sometimes, again, shaking up the lineup will give some of the guys a spark.
He's also another one of these fifth-year guys on the court tonight coming from UConn. And that three has Iona on an 11-0 run.
We saw him a couple weeks ago hit 29 at Ryder. He's more than capable to have a hot night.
Win against UCLA, and some other things go their way down the stretch.
It's that time of year. Things are shaking up.
The MAC, of course, a one-bid conference. We saw that last year when, if there were a year to get two teams in, it would have been Monmouth getting an at-large bid last year. They did not get one. And Joe Lunardi says if the same thing happens, Monmouth loses in the tournament, he does not expect them to get a bid.
They won't, because they didn't have a real tough non-conference schedule. Now, last year they played those tough non-conference teams, but those teams didn't end up having the best season, so it didn't shake out in favor for them.
Great take from the senior Jordan Washington. Always nice when your leading scorer can only have 3 points and you're still up 11. Calvin Crawford cutting into that lead, though. The junior who started the game with 5 straight points, then went cold, picks up a bucket there. Crawford inside, draws the contact. Basket doesn't go. The freshman heads surprised there were no D-Wade to the Cavs rumors as everything was swirling this week.
It's been a crazy week in the NBA.
And yet, nothing really happened.
A couple big ones. The big one was the Sacramento Kings Boogie Cousins trade. That was crazy going to the Pelicans. It's going to be him and the Brown now. Two crazy good guys in the paint.
We've got a good interior battle cooking here between Zane Waterman and Jordan Washington. Right now, Waterman with more points, but Washington, his team's got a 10-point lead, and that's what Tim Clues was saying. He doesn't need to go score 38. As long as we win, that's the most important statistic.
What Iona's doing well right now is they're forcing turnovers. They forced 7 turnovers, and they have 13 points off those turnovers, so they're capitalizing off of it. You see the way Much is covering Turner on the
3 to shoot at the end of the shot clock, and the freshman Walker Jr. just gives it away. 7th turnover for the Jaspers tonight. The problem that's plagued them all season is a big reason they stand at 5-14 in the conference.
Iona's taking their time here. I like the patience in the zone, against the zone.
4 to shoot, gotta hurry. Cassell Jr. lets it fly. That's off the mark. Offensive rebound almost ripped down by Washington. Scrambling on the floor, a timeout taken. Steve Monmouth season. Iona still has one left Sunday against the conference leaders, Monmouth.
And that'll be senior night. A crazy one to end with.
Always crazy when those two teams get together. A rematch from last year's conference championship game. Moving screen called against Calvin Crawford for Manhattan. Another turnover, number 8 on the night.
First personal 14 foul.
Gales up by 10 as we tick under 2 minutes to go in this opening half. Casimir steps into a 3 and drills it. Cedric Casimir.
And that happened because Deshaun Much got into the teeth of the defense. He penetrated the gap of the lane, and then he found the kick out for the wide open Casimir.
And that's the 10th 3 for Iona. They've only got 2 losses on the season when they hit that mark, and they've already hit it in the first half. And it's Casimir's 3rd of the night.
I really like the way Deshaun Much is playing. He has been involved in almost every play, penetrating or hitting shots. He's come out strong like a veteran.
Jasper Jr. at the foul line. Makes the front end. It's so funny. Cedric Cat. Double technicals assessed to both teams. Ricky McGill for Iona and Xavier Turner for Manhattan.
Yeah, I had a feeling it would probably just go to both of them. They were both wrapped up.
A foul call. Game presented by AT&T. Top 5 matchup, UCLA and Arizona getting together out west. I'll be locked into that one for sure.
Big time. I love this time of year, especially watching the veterans, watching the seniors. This is it for them. The way that the guys come together at the end of the year, they want to get to the NCAA tournament. It's just so much fun to watch.
And especially in a one-bid conference like the MAC, they know that their season ends with a loss in the MAC tournament.
That's what I love about the mid-major conferences, because you really know that you're going to get blood, sweat, and tears on the floor.
And this guy, Jordan Washington, won a MAC championship last year in his junior year. I asked him before the game, when do you start to lock in to that do-or-die mindset? He said, I'm already in it.
Yeah, he's an emotional player. Sometimes gets caught up in the moment at times this season, but that's the very thing we love about him, the very thing that can get him in trouble sometimes. But he's such a relentless player on both ends of the floor.
And shockingly, with 1 minute left in this first half, Washington with 0 fouls. This is a guy that has had 3 or more fouls in 11 straight games. Under a minute left in this opening half. Iona up by 13 at home. It's been all about the 3 ball for the Gales. 10 of 17 from beyond the arc. They go inside this time. Washington, the second effort goes.
Nice job by Cassell with the pass. That was threading the needle, but a beautiful look.
A 20-3 run for Iona as we tick under 25 seconds left to play in this opening half. The story of the season for Manhattan. They take their foot off the gas for a couple of minutes and their opponent blows right by them. 4-second separation, shot clock and game clock. 2 on the timer. Capiano doesn't see it. That's a shot clock violation. And now Iona Cluse is done year in and year out, now in year 7 with the Gales. And in every single year, he's had 20 or more wins. Needs 2 more to get it this year. A foul called? No, a travel. With 1.6 seconds on the clock.
Not much trying to push it up the floor to get a 3 off, but he did walk in the middle of the court.
You're so worried about getting that shot off, you forget to take a dribble or 2.
And you're trying to go so fast, and he just tripped up a little bit on the dribble. Manhattan here with the final shot opportunity.
Turner, he got it off, but it falls well short. Well, Iona head coach Tim Cluse paying dividends, 4 of 5 for 3, 12 points for the junior. And we are underway in this second half. Manhattan starts with the basketball, trying to claw out of a 15-point hole. They started this game so strongly, held the lead, but then Iona just roared back. Waterman can't handle it. Stolen away from Jordan Washington. We previewed that interior battle early. Right now, Washington winning it, and Deshaun Much picking up where he left off in the first half, his 5th 3 of the night. Iona continuing to flex his muscles.
And Much is playing the most confident basketball he's been playing all season. The last couple of games I just mentioned, he has been shooting phenomenally well, 64% from 3. And he's continuing it now. You want to play this way at this time of year.
Much now guarding Turner and forces another Jasper turnover.
And it's off of a turnover yet again. Manhattan turns the ball over and then up in transition. Much spots up. The best time to make a 3. The defense scrambles and you find yourself open.
Julianne, I've got a general rule of thumb. Whenever you have more turnovers than made field goals, it's not a good night. Jasper's 13 turnovers, only 11 field goals in this game.
If they want to stay in this game, they've got to clean that up big time.
Much didn't have any room and buries it. Deshaun Much on fire for Iona.
He can stuff the stat sheet when he is hot.
6 of 7 from the floor. Leads all scorers with 17 points. Waterman heads into the lane and one. That's what Manhattan needed to get things going, and they turn to their big man, Zane Waterman.
And Waterman has been the most consistent all season, and he's so good. He can take it off the bounce at 6'9". He's a post player as well, so he can face up. He's a difficult matchup for a lot of players. Great job penetrating the gap.
And Waterman attacking Jordan Washington. And that's the matchup that Steve Masiello saw 4 years ago in an AAU game in Philadelphia that made the Manhattan coach recruit Waterman so hard and bring him to New York City.
He's not afraid of anyone.
We've seen that game in and game out in the MAC. He's really been one of the few bright spots on this Manhattan team, and Masiello very happy to have him back for his senior year next year, where hopefully for Manhattan they can take a step and get out of the MAC basement that they've been in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, and then each of these guys will be a year older, more used to Masiello's system.
Open look, Sponderlich drains it from the corner.
15% or more.
These two teams trading turnovers. Xavier Turner drives in and draws a foul. We apologize for the technical issues as Xavier Turner heads to the foul line. His team trailing by 20. Turner, the transfer from Ball State for Manhattan, not heading to the foul line, actually. They called it on the floor. Waterman, turnaround jumper, got it. Zane Waterman, he leads Manhattan in scoring with 15, nearly half of the Jaspers' points.
And he tends to be the only scorer at times, and it's just not enough. He needs some guys around him that can be a good supporting cast.
And Julianne, Manhattan's only had 3 scorers in this entire game. Somebody's got to step up who's currently got a goose egg. Down low to Washington, working on Waterman. Great defensive effort from Zane Waterman to force the miss. Manhattan has numbers with Washington lagging behind. Here's Walker Jr., a travel. We've seen flashes from the freshman, but he's far too hot and cold in this game, Julianne.
Yeah, for sure. He can be really, really good, but there are times he needs to improve with his understanding of the game. But he's going to be a special player. He's really been working, Coach Maz has been working on preparation for him.
Ricky McGill loses the handle. Here's Xavier Turner, doesn't have the numbers. Goes up with it, second effort. Waterman almost let a 3 fly. Not his shot, though. Hits the floor. Stolen away by Sponderlich. What's the call? Jump ball.
Hit the deck for you, and that's what you want with him. He comes in, he gives you really good minutes. Doesn't really play a ton. He'll give you 15 to 20 minutes at times on a good day.
Sam Cassell Jr. on the trap, and an over and back call against the former Connecticut Husky.
But that's what we haven't seen a ton of from Manhattan. Manhattan has not been able to disrupt Iona, and that's what they typically do to teams. They pick you apart. Basically, they've got the mindset, we foul more than the refs will call, and they'll get after you, but they haven't done it well enough tonight.
Wilson, the lone senior, uses the glass for 2. And Manhattan again ramps up that defensive pressure. They've been the team turning it over tonight, trying to force Iona into one, but great.
Good poise for Iona.
Yeah, Cedric Casimir showing off the handles. 10 to shoot. They go inside. Washington has a patent hook shot from the senior, Jordan Washington. Took that so confidently and drilled it.
But what makes Iona so dangerous is the fact they've got the perimeter game. That's where the threat, if you're even a threat out there, you're going to draw defenders out there, and then that's going to open some stuff in the lane.
Cassell Jr. all the way up to Casimir. Couldn't get the dipsy-do to go. Now Manhattan can run. That looked like it was off the foot.
Make it so many games across the board. 336, that's a ton of basketball in 1 month. I can't wait.
can barely count that high.
Yeah, the MAC tournament's always fun. The men's and the women's tournament taking place at the same time.
Have you seen enough from this Iona team tonight that you think they could challenge Monmouth in that MAC tournament?
Absolutely. This is a wide open league, and I always say that because anybody can win it. I mean, I really think that especially this year, a lot of parity in the conference. Iona is as good as anyone when they are playing at their best. It's a matter of, are they going to come to play? Are they going to be that consistent Iona team that we see tonight? And Tim Cluse is always going to bring it as a coach.
A big reason why Jordan Washington, who steps to the foul line, he's battled foul trouble his entire Iona career, now in his senior year. Tonight, 0 fouls. He stayed on the floor. Tim Cluse preaching to us before the game that he can't keep playing number 23 just 15 to 20 minutes per game. He needs Washington on the floor more. And it's been foul trouble all season that's plagued him, but not tonight.
And part of the problem, and you'll hear Tim Cluse say that, is he's a pure brute force. And refs in this league aren't accustomed to seeing that. So he of course, blames himself on some of it, but other times I think they just don't let him bang around enough.
Waterman banging around on the other end. And there's Jordan Washington's foul trouble. 15 games of 4 fouls.
He's done all right tonight, though. It's a good sign.
And you want your guys playing the best time at the end of the season. And Jordan Washington showing that tonight, getting the start for the first time in a while, and paying dividends, showing he can stay on the floor for extended minutes without drawing a foul. His team up 18 in this second half. A little too much defensive pressure on the full court press from Aaron Walker Jr.
It was hard for Manhattan to press the entire game this year because they don't go very deep. So you really can't press. Steve Maziello would like to, I think, more.
Deshaun Much, who's been the hot hand for Iona with 5 threes, gets it to Jordan Washington. Great look underneath.
That's what I love about
points, but he's played so well.
He has. He's played within himself and hasn't tried to overdo it. And he's got guys around him that are playing extremely well. Very dynamic. Got a lot of scores tonight. They don't need him to have 38.
It's a really balanced scoring attack for Iona. They've been that way all season. Meanwhile, for Manhattan, only 4 scorers on the night. Make it 5 of Samson Usillo gets his first bucket. Sophomore from Nigeria, played his high school ball at Nazareth in Brooklyn.
And he has not really done much tonight. And he's a guy that we've seen throughout the season have some big nights.
Jordan Washington continuing to stay hot. Iona back up 20 and Washington up to 13 on the night. Open 3, Xavier Turner can't cash in though. There's Much, steps into a 3, no good. He's been so good from beyond the arc though. Only his second miss from 3.
Much really gets off the floor. I mean, he's a slender guy, but what an athlete, just a pure athlete. Now, Deshaun Much missed a few games earlier in the season. He took a leave of absence. We're not really told what it was about, but we didn't know if he was even going to come back onto the team this year. I'm sure they're happy to have him back.
Sam Cassell Jr. has been quiet, started most of this season for Iona. 4 new starters for the Gales tonight. Cassell off the bench, can't make that 3. And a foul on the point guard, Ricky McGill, who went up to claim that board. What a luxury it is if you're Tim Cluse to bring a guy like Sam Cassell Jr. off your bench. So talented. Played for UConn the last 2 seasons over with Kevin Ollie. Started his college career actually in the panhandle of Florida, small school in Mariana at Chipola College.
And we've mentioned this before in broadcast, but he's the son of the former NBA star and the current Clippers assistant, Sam Cassell. So he's been around the game for a long time. Reminds me a lot of his dad and the way he moves. He's been a little inconsistent this season, but when he gets hot, he's really good.
Travel called on John Sevier on the other side of the court. It's a very veteran-heavy team. The problem is they haven't gotten their experience with Iona. If you look at the two guys we just mentioned, Sevier and Cassell Jr., this is their first year with the program, but their last year in college basketball. So Tim Blues trying to get these puzzle pieces together as they enter the MAC tournament. Of course, they've got one more game left on the schedule, and it's a big one. Monmouth in this building on Sunday.
Right before you enter the MAC tournament, playing the top team in the league, and Monmouth is definitely still the team to beat. They come out with wins. That's the bottom line. They're a veteran team that seems to win even when they don't play well, which shows a lot. King Rice is a great coach, and those guys are playing well.
Sevier can't make the uncontested triple. Manhattan late on switching over to the coverage, but it's a fresh 30 for Iona. Another offensive rebound for the Gales. It's a 20-point lead in the second half. Sevier gets another shot at it. Can't make that one. Tapped out again. Could have been another offensive rebound, but the Jaspers hunt it down. Waterman splits the defenders. A travel call.
As well, he's been such a veteran influence for this group.
Who do you think could sneak on to that first team all-conference behind Robinson?
Sneak on? Well, I don't know about sneak on. I think it's going to end up being who we probably think, but I think that the players that could be on the bubble, if they end up winning the MAC tournament or being runner-up, or actually these are announced before the MAC tournament, but I think it goes to the guy on the better team. That's the way it should be, in my opinion. It doesn't always happen like that, because you could get Zane Waterman, for instance, on one of the teams, even though their team was at the bottom. Now, I don't really know if I agree with that, but I don't know if I can say that there's one player that might sneak on. I think a lot of these guys, we know we're going to see Washington on the list as well. I mean, he could have been player of the year, too, with the way he's played this year.
So you think Washington does get into the conference all-teamers?
Oh, definitely.
It's so
he'll
tough.
Be a first-teamer.
Because he only averages 21 minutes per game, but he's the highest scoring player in the entire country, not just the MAC, if you take it for the full 40 minutes.
He'll definitely be on the team. Nelson from Fairfield will be on the team. I mean, there's a few guys that we know are no-brainers.
Cassell Jr. leaves it short. A foul on the rebound. It's staying here.
Earlier.
A tight one against Siena, though.
Siena played them hard.
And with Siena having the home court advantage, if you will, up in Albany, don't be surprised, even with overall record below 500, the Saints, they're for real this year.
They'll bring it out. They always do. And Jimmy Patsos is a fun guy. I like him as a coach. He'll have them playing at their best. And their second half of the season's been better than earlier.
DJ Crawford with a nice scoop to the hoop. The freshman is up to 8 points on the game, and Iona has its largest lead of the game, 22 in this second half.
Teams in the MAC, and they've beaten each other up all season. We've seen it. A lot of parity. So I really think that you can't take anybody lightly. I wouldn't say there's one specific team.
All eyes will be on this Iona team come next week in the MAC tournament, though. The defending national champions, they've won 2 out of the last 4 years. Playing good basketball tonight, leading by 21. They feed Washington again, who draws the foul. That gives us a longer look at the standings. Manhattan, you see there in the basement. Iona sitting in third.
Well, listen, Fairfield, we just did them last week, and I just think that they're phenomenal. They're a matchup problem for a lot of teams. I could see them creeping up here, making some noise. They're right outside of the top 5 spot right now.
They started the year really strongly, has kind of faded. You saw them last weekend, and they impressed you a lot.
Yeah, they were good. I mean, I thought they played well. Now, they had a battle with Quinnipiac. A back-and-forth battle, but I just like the way they share the basketball. When they're playing at their best, it's when they're sharing the ball. And Tyler Nelson's playing well. They've got a couple of big guys inside that are real bangers.
Xavier Turtle struggled tonight, and that continues. You think he's trying to force it a little bit, the leading scorer on Manhattan. You know you're struggling. 0 points, 0 for 7 from the floor, and that one just not a good look for the junior.
And he typically doesn't turn the ball over much. And he's gone through some periods this season where he's gone into drought scoring-wise. And, you know, he's having one of those nights. Not a big guy, but he typically can get into the basket. He's not getting any good looks tonight. They're doing a nice job on him. They're keeping him in check.
Turner, the transfer from Ball State. This is his first year with Coach Masiello, and he says it usually takes a year to learn the way Manhattan plays defensively. So it's impressed him that offensively he's emerged as the leading scorer. Kick out this time. Another turnover. Casimir fouled hard. No easy basket. Cedric Casimir heads to the line for two.
And here's another turnover by Turner. And then up in transition, Casimir gets clobbered. This is where Iona has hurt Manhattan, and it's been because of the turnover situation for Manhattan. They've not taken care of the ball tonight. It's coming back to bite them.
Casimir up to 10 points as Iona has 3 players in double figures tonight.
Now, Casimir has had 3 surgeries in his career. He had to stop playing last year, and his last surgery was just a few months ago. He's still not 100%, and you've got to give him credit the way that he's out there. And I remember him as a freshman, how dynamic he was. He's lost a little bit of a step. He's still got that potential.
Yeah, he put up 27 last Friday night against Marist, but he followed that up Sunday with a 0-point performance. So it's finding that consistency, which is really a microcosm of this entire Iona team. Waterman, double team, gets by it, it doesn't roll in. Talk about a microcosm on the Manhattan side, not getting any rolls tonight.
They just can't shoot tonight. 38 points. They're struggling.
And 14 turnovers as well. Much this time doesn't shoot a 3, dribbles in and gets the bounce.
He's showing so many different facets of his game tonight. He shot the ball well, but he can get it in the lane.
And this is an important game for the junior. He gets into the starting lineup for one of the first times this season, and it immediately pays dividends. He's the leading scorer on this Gales team with 19.
If I'm Tim Cluse, I'm thinking of starting all the time.
Almost an exclamation point for Jordan Washington in transition, but the big fella misses the dunk, and that leads to an easy 2 on the...
He's all right.
The only thing that might be hurt is the pride after missing a dunk in front of your home crowd, but he still had a great game tonight. 14 points, and Iona's up 24.
Yeah, he's playing well.
He had 38 points in the loss to Ryder last time Iona played. After that basket, 16 points. So even though he's scoring less, Iona up 26, and that's what his head coach, Tim Cluse, said is a statistic he needs to pay closest attention to at this point of the season.
He's got to be efficient. I think that's what he's been doing pretty much all season, including tonight.
10 to shoot for Manhattan. Pocket picked. And Jordan Washington comes up with the loose ball.
Now, Iona has 28 points off of the turnovers. Manhattan's got 21 turnovers, way too many. We still got 7 minutes to play.
Is there anything the Iona defense has been doing that's impressed you to force those turnovers, or have they been self-inflicted?
I think that they've been energetic and they've stuck to the game plan. I do think that they've certainly deserved some credit with how they've consistently defended the whole game. Now, they didn't do it just a half. They've been doing it the entire 40 minutes so far, 35 minutes or so.
It's the largest lead of the game for Iona, 26.
But sometimes Manhattan forces a lot. They do force passes that they don't need to.
This is exactly the game the Gales were looking for with the conference leaders coming into this building 2 days from now. Going the other way.
But to me, Manhattan's not that tough to cover. They don't have a lot of scores. You put somebody on Xavier Turner, you face guard him, which Iona's been doing, really making it difficult for him to get the basketball. And then you put a body on Zane Waterman. And then you make other people beat you. Earlier, they were leaving Walker wide open, Crawford wide open, because that's who they wanted them to beat them. It's worked.
And now up 26, Iona, who usually likes to run and gun, can now slow things down, take a full 30 if they need to on this shot clock. Washington decides to let it fly, an air ball from the senior, but right off the leg of Manhattan, and Iona with the basketball underneath their own hoop. And Steve Masiello kind of just shakes his head. That's the type of night it's been for the Jaspers.
And he's sweating through that suit.
It's been a season of suit sweating for the Manhattan head coach.
It has been tough, but he's a positive guy, and you know that he's going to have an even better team next year, a year older, a year more defensive-minded like he likes, and understanding his system.
Xavier Turner, the floater, doesn't fall. The Manhattan leading scorer now 0 for 8 and 0 points on the night. Add that in with the host of turnovers, and you get a 26-point hole you're trying to climb out of.
The thing Manhattan needs to get better at is three-point shooting. They need to get better from the perimeter. They just don't shoot well.
Ricky McGill buries it from the baseline. 68-40. Iona has its largest lead of the game. You feel the Gales have kind of hit cruise control.
Yeah, now they just look like they're maintaining, and they're scoring pretty easily at the other end.
Waterman up to 18 to lead the Jaspers. Nearly half of his team's points. And a timeout taken by Tim Kluse with a...
Doing on a daily basis.
Iona narrowing in on win number 19 of the season. With one more, Tim Kluse will have 20 wins in each year he's coached this Iona team. He's a winner.
He's a winner, and he's an old school coach. He keeps it pretty simple. Smart guy, knows his X's and O's really well. He's just done a phenomenal job with this program.
End of the shot clock. Much lets it fly. No good, but it falls right to Jordan Washington, and it's a fresh shot clock for Iona. That's the easiest rebound the senior Washington will have in his entire career. Wasn't even looking at it, fell right into his lap.
A lot of times when you play a zone, there's no one to box out, so then it's easier to give up second and third chance opportunities.
Crawford muscling his way in. That doesn't drop. And a foul underneath. After Spurs and Clippers tonight, join Neil and Stan for SportsCenter at night. They'll have everything from the NBA, college basketball, the NHL, and spring training. SportsCenter at night after the NBA on ESPN. It's all streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Both teams in the bonus as Calvin Crawford drills the front end. Crawford, a guy who started the game so sharply, first 5 points for either team. He's cooled off, though, as has his entire team, though.
They certainly have, and they've only got 2 guys in double figures, too, Jay, and that's a problem. They've had a hard time with that all season, just finding that third scorer. Turner typically has better offensive performances.
They've only got 5 scorers in the entire game, and 2 of those guys only have 1 basket. Much tries a 3. That's no good. Jordan Washington, another offensive rebound, but he gives it right away. Here's Xavier Turner. And off to Crawford, who misses the bunny. And if you just joined us, that's Manhattan's whole night in a couple of seconds.
It's been one of those nights. They're turning it over, and then they're not making shots. And Iona has capitalized off of it. It's been a cakewalk most of the night for them.
Washington Bank not open this late.
What's interesting about Manhattan is they've been shooting better lately. They just haven't shot well tonight.
And it's been the simple shots. They've gotten themselves in good opportunities, but just can't finish near the rim.
They didn't shoot well the first time that they played the Gales. Back in January. And they're not shooting well again.
Another miss from straight away. That comes from Manhattan's leading scorer, Xavier Turner. He's now 0 for 8 from the field. Freshman E.J. Crawford can't get it. Another offensive rebound.
Last 2 games before this, he played extremely assertive. You've got to love that out of your junior.
Another great game from Jordan Washington, the senior, with 17 points to his name. It's not the 38 we saw last weekend against Ryder, but the important fact there is Iona lost that game, and Washington still a great game with 18 points, and Iona's going to get the win.
Yeah, I think they learned a lot from that game. You know, Washington get the crowd into it. He doesn't have to have 38 points when he's got guys like Deshaun Much stepping up and other players stepping up from the offensive perspective.
And only 2 fouls for a senior who's been in foul trouble all season. Usillo on the other end for Manhattan heads to the foul line. Washington, a well-deserved rest. Only 2 fouls. That's the key stat probably of the entire night for Tim
Right.
Clues.
We keep harping on that, right? Need him in the game. You're better in the game than on the bench, right? Another double-double for him.
A lot of those rebounds coming on the offensive end as well.
He's a hustler.
Thrown away. Sam Cassell Jr., where was that going? Let's see if Manhattan can capitalize. Zane Waterman, that doesn't go. Second effort off the glass and in.
Good hustle by Waterman. Waterman never stops battling. He's one of those blue-collar workers that you just gotta love.
Crawford on the other end. And one. The freshman, E.J. Manhattan team, he just needs some help.
E.J. Crawford.
Under 2 minutes left in New Rochelle. Iona has this one comfortably. Manhattan, just too many turnovers, too many missed shots. Is there anything the Jaspers can do this late in the season to maybe win a game in the MAC tournament?
I just think they need to play better on the offensive end. I mean, they have struggled so much on that side of the floor, just getting that durable offense from various guys. I think that's the key for them. And they got to be able to hold teams. Actually, they held Iona to in the 70s, which is typically a pretty good game for Manhattan defensively, because Manhattan couldn't score tonight. That was the problem.
Yeah, Xavier Turner, the leading scorer, just got his first basket with 90 seconds left in the game. 1 of 10 on the night. Not going to win many games when your leading scorer only has 1 basket.
I just don't think they've got enough talent. They don't have enough depth to really make a run in the tournament.
Kick out for 3. That's short.
And now the crowd going crazy here. And Luca's in the game, and I don't even know how to say that last name. Can you take a shot at it? Milosevic.
Milosavljevic. And that's what we're sticking with. That is what we are sticking with.
I've never gotten a chance to see him play. And you can tell as soon as he got in the game, the crowd's going crazy. Player from Vienna. And he's a walk-on. He's only played in a few games this year. I think maybe 4 or 5 games.
The crowd's so happy he took that 3. It's always nice in a conference game to get the guys that help you each day in practice onto the floor.
If he scores, this place is erupting.
Under a minute left, Iona up 21. Gales have the conference leaders coming into this place on Sunday, Monmouth. It'll be interesting to see if Tim Cluse sticks with the starting lineup. He made 4 changes tonight.
He's not afraid to shake it up. I wouldn't be surprised if he changes it again.
Keeping the opponents on their toes.
And at this point in the year, these guys know each other so well. Every team knows the weapons, the personnel. And you've got to be able to basically reinvent yourself at times.
And the night ends very appropriately for Manhattan. Their 22nd turnover of the game. And Iona can just dribble out this shot clock once they get it back in play. A dominant effort from start to finish. Iona wins it 6.